Okay, we're going to get the Selectmen's meeting underway for Monday, January 25th. And the first thing on the agenda is the dog hearing. So I want to open that hearing, and by doing so, I would like to read the public notice. A public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen.
Glenn, your mic.
Oh, thank you, Joe. A public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen in the first fair hearing room of the 1910 Office Building, 381 Main Street, West Newbury, Mass. 01985, on Monday, the 25th day of January 2016. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. You gave me the wrong one. That's the public. That's the one for the polls that we're doing later.
Oh,
The polls
we don't have a public hearing.
for the dog.
That goes into this, the newspaper.
So we're just announcing the public hearing on the letter.
Okay. Well, I'll just go by the instruction of town council. So, okay. So I'm going to open the hearing. We're having this hearing. We have a complaint that was submitted by Carolyn Jackson. So now the hearing is open, and the first thing we will do is have Michael McCarron swear in witnesses. So if you think you're going to make any testimony at this hearing tonight, could you please stand up, and Michael will swear you in.
All right, anyone who's going to give testimony tonight, please stand up. Raise your hand. Solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give today is true and accurate.
Thank you.
Can I take down the names?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have them give as they testify, I'll have them give their full name and their address. The first part of this public hearing is I'm going to have the complainant state her case. So if you could please come up and speak into the microphone. The microphone is for at home, not for here,
Okay.
because it's on TV.
Yeah.
So if you don't hear, you know what I mean? Sometimes people think it's for here, so they don't. And it's on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
Again, please.
I'm not exactly sure how this works. You just want me to say what happened or what the...
If you'd like, you could read the letter that...
Name and address first.
Your
Okay.
name and address.
My name is Carolyn Jackson, and my address is 164 Middle Street in West Newbury.
Okay, if you could just let Chris get that down.
And do you want me to read the letter that I sent in?
Or just state your case.
If you want to state your
Okay.
case,
I mean, that kind of outlines it, but however
we'll
you-
have questions. and so
however
forth.
you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You,
I-
you're trying to present the case to us about
Yep.
something that happened. So we want you to feel whatever way you feel comfortable to making sure that we have all the information that we need so we can
Okay.
disseminate and make a decision. So I don't want to tell you what to do, but I want you to tell us, what.
Okay,
And then
sure.
we could ask some questions during it.
Okay. So the reason that I'm here and the reason that I did file a complaint is that I was out running with my dog. This was back in November. We were on Bachelor Street, and we passed the residence of 186 Bachelor Street. We were passing the driveway. The person who lives there, Nancy Cullen, was coming back from a walk with her two dogs and walking up her driveway. When I ran by with my dog, it was on a leash. I said good morning. We ran past. There wasn't any sign of any kind of trouble. Neither one of the dogs showed any kind of aggression toward me or my dog. And we continued running down the street. And I'm going to say, I don't know exactly how long it was, but maybe a minute later, Nancy started to yell at me, get your dog, get your dog. When I turned around, her dog was running down the road toward us. Its leash was trailing behind, and it didn't hesitate at all. It just attacked my dog, lunged right into her shoulder. It was a very vicious, a very frightening attack. It would not let go of my dog. My dog was yelping, bleeding. I was very frightened. I felt very out of control, and it just would not let go and just ripped apart her shoulder. Nancy came running down the street. We both tried to wrestle with the dog. I had my hands around the dog's jaw, trying to pry it loose. It wouldn't budge. I just proceeded to, as hard as I could, punch the dog in the head over and over again, and finally it released. She was able to get the dog away. I was able to flag down a trooper that was driving by, who gave me a ride home, and then I could get my dog in the car and take it to the vet, where it had, our dog had extensive injuries. I provided a picture of her wounds. They had to put her under and surgically put in a drain and stitch her up. So she had that drain for 5 days, and even after they removed the drain, it was an open wound that continued to drain for about 10 days. So I met with the dog officer. I met with the chief of police because I understood that I had to, file a formal complaint. And I asked that the dog not be allowed on the street where it could do this to another person or another dog, because I think it's dangerous. The attack was not provoked in any way. My dog showed no aggression whatsoever towards this dog. And the response I got from the dog officer is that he did go and talk to Nancy Cullen and let her know what my request was, that the dog not be in a position to do this to anyone else. And I was told that she had consulted or brought the dog to a behavioral therapist. I believe it was at Tufts, and that the behavioral therapist said that the dog suffered from anxiety, and that she would have the dog on anti-anxiety medication and would walk the dog on a gentle lead.
What's that?
My understanding is a gentle lead is something that kind of goes over the, it's not a muzzle, but it's like a guide for a dog when it's walking. I don't know exactly what it does, but it doesn't restrain the dog from biting. It's not a muzzle. So I'm just very uncomfortable with that. If it was one of my kids who was walking our dog, I think it would have been a terrible outcome. I'm not sure this dog would have stopped. If it was a smaller dog, I think there's a good chance that dog would not have survived. So,
Do you have the date?
November 18th.
I have a couple of questions. Does anybody else?
I do, I got one. Go ahead. Oh,
Was your dog on a leash?
Yes.
Trying to
Mhm.
get all the info, I'm
Yep.
not making any, I'm just trying to get information at this point. That's all I have.
Did any point, when the dog was on, the two dogs were together, was there any point that you felt you were in jeopardy? Was there any action by the dog towards you or anything like that, or no?
No. Did it bite me or anything? No.
No.
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Obviously stay, because we might have some more questions. Questions might pop up that we would like to ask you with other testimony.
Okay.
Thank you very
The
much.
only other thing I wanted to add was that when the dog attacked us, we were running in the opposite direction, heading away from the house down towards the reservoir. So there was we weren't running toward it. There was no threat to this dog in any way.
Yep, I think you stated a very good case.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to have the testimony from the animal control officer now. And this testimony will be, you were not as a first-hand witness at the scene at any time?
No, I wasn't. Well, afterwards.
Afterwards, but not
I don't-
during that day?
Approximately, not that day,
Okay.
not that day.
Give you name and address.
Sorry, Scott Purdy, I'm the Animal Control Officer for the Town of West Newbury. 60 Pleasant Street, City Hall, Newburyport is my main office.
Yep, perfect.
I got the call about the alleged attack. I went to the house up at 186 Bachelor Street. As per law, we put the dog on a quarantine. It's a 10-day quarantine. It's primarily for rabies, to make sure there's no spread of rabies. I viewed the dog. I spoke with Nancy Cullen, who was the owner of the dog. She agreed that she would, put the dog on the quarantine. It's called a strict confinement at this point, is what it is. Some people think a quarantine is they actually take the dog and put him in the pound and whatnot. At this point, though, with this type of situation, it's called a strict quarantine, which means the dog has to either be inside, or if allowed outside, it has to be on a leash no longer than 3 feet with an adult at all times. So that's what we call a strict confinement.
So you're saying that you went to Bachelor Street and Middle Street, and you instructed both people?
No,
No.
Nancy Cullen's dog, because
Just
that's
Nancy
the attacking dog. That's the only dog that did the biting.
Yep, okay.
That's the only dog that did the biting. She agreed. I did view the dog on that day. Actually, it was in the evening at that time. We did have conversations throughout. After the 10 days, which was the 29th, which happened to be on a weekend, I did go back there that following Monday. I did see the dogs. There are 2 dogs there, but I saw the dog in question. The dog exhibited no signs of rabies, so there was no issue with that. I spoke with Nancy on the telephone, let her know that the strict confinement, i.e. quarantine, is over, because there is no threat of quarantine, no threat of rabies at that time. And we did speak briefly about what she had done, what she just exaggerated, said that things that she had tried to do to alleviate the problem. I understood. I'm just following the rules, the law. Put the dog in the quarantine. Dog did not exhibit rabies. We took the dog off the quarantine, and we did have the hearing with the chief of police at the time. It was Lisa. We had a hearing. It was basically a more informal type of hearing, of anything, of just letting her know that what we're allowed to do by law. And she did understand that she did need to bring it forward if she wanted to go further to this venue here, which she did, and that's why we're here today.
Now you're talking about Carolyn Jackson.
Yes, sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm just
Sorry, I didn't-
I'm just trying to make sure that everybody understands what
Right,
you're
right.
talking about and dates, so we can make it all clear for this. So
Right.
now you've switched, after you've told Mrs. Cullen that her dog no longer has rabies, and you said the 29th, so I'm assuming that's November, but you didn't say.
Yes, sorry, not 29
So
November.
from the 19th to the 29th of November,
Right.
the dog was under quarantine, you went back, no exhibited rabies, and you said that, obviously,
The dog is released from the
Yep.
quarantine.
and then you met with Carolyn Jackson with the chief of police.
Correct.
Okay?
We met with her. We explained, it was basically an explanation of what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. We did follow the protocol of the rabies quarantine. We did inform her that if she wanted to bring it forward, she'd have to bring it forward to this venue, which she has done. That's why we're here tonight, rather. Just basically, it was an informational type of thing. We did explain what we did, how our hands are basically tied as to what we're allowed to do. We did as far as we can go, and now it's at this venue.
Okay. Anything else?
I was informed by Nancy Cullen that she did say the gentle lead thing, the anti-anxiety medications, brought her to the doctor to get those medications imposed. She did inform me that she has an electric fence around her property, and
That she has?
that she
or
has already, yes.
Has installed? after the
She told me that
incident?
it was already there prior to the incident.
Okay.
It's a very large, well, as West Newbury goes, it's kind of a normal-sized lot, but I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 4 or 6 acre range that she owns, somewhere in that
Could you
range.
describe the size and the type of dog of, Ms.
Yes, it's a, sorry, I'm told it's an English golden retriever. It's basically all white. I'm guessing, I didn't weigh the dog, but I'm guessing it's in the 70 to 85 pound range, fairly large dog. It seemed in very good health. I understand it is a little bit older in the 9-year range.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Have there been any subsequent or preceding complaints of any kind from, about that animal?
About that dog, no, no.
At that address?
At that address, no, no,
Okay.
nothing else.
Is that it, Archie?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Nancy Cullen, please.
Go ahead.
Please.
Yes. My name's Nancy Cullen. My husband is James Cullen. We live at 186 Bachelor Street in West Newbury. We moved here about 1.5 years ago, and we have 4 horses, 2 dogs, and a cat, and we live on approximately 10 acres. Lady B and I, which is the dog, sorry, I'm just going to call her Lady B. Since the time we've moved in, I have walked her 5 to 6 times a week, 2 to 3 miles each time, passing by the Jacksons' home at least twice a week. We frequently went down Middle Street up Kimball Road to the top or over to Ash Street, so we're very familiar with that area. We've never had any incidences at all. We moved from Minnesota over a couple of years ago. We lived in Boxford for a year, walked her on a leash 5 to 6 times a week, 2 to 3 miles each time there also, and never had any incidences there. I think what's important to know here, and I understand, I apologize for the trauma that I put you through. It was a traumatic experience, and for me as well, but there were some contributing factors that led up to this that I think are important for everybody to know. For those people who haven't been up to the top of the hill, it's pretty private up there. Rick Thurlow owned...
Can you please be specific when you say top of the hill? We need to know what that
You're talking about your
186 Bachelor Street.
We need to
Okay.
know what that means.
Okay. We live on, our driveway is about 1/4 mile long, okay? And we own the property that's on the left side of the driveway, and Rick Thurlow owns about 5 or 6 acres on the opposite side, and then there's one other house up there, and they have 33 acres. Right after we moved in July, it sold, and a gentleman who lives in Texas purchased it, and he decided to rent the property. He rented it to a couple who had 3 German Shepherds. And from the time they moved in January, we had problems with their dogs. They kept coming in our yard. I actually called the police. I have the reports. They have twice that I called to say that these dogs were coming in our yard. The person who owns the property was having more than just the dog issues with them. He was having a lot of other issues with them, so he was trying to get them evicted and couldn't, but then he offered to let them out of their lease. He was very concerned about the situation because the dogs attacked the property the property manager and bit him. It was never reported. So he sent me this mace to try to protect myself from the other dogs. We had workers coming through the year, and I had to tell them to please be careful because the dogs would come onto our property. Unfortunately, my dog is afraid of other dogs, so she was always on high alert.
Always?
Always. If I don't, no, I should restate that. When we walk her, I pass dogs, okay? And I have dogs that she walks by when we go on her walks. She doesn't growl, she doesn't lunge at them or anything like that. But I would say that I can give you the incidences that she will shake and she will cry if she sees another dog on the property, and she'll run upstairs. The day before the incident with the Jackson dog, the pet stop people were over fixing the electric fence because it was cut by the people who pick up the muck pile. But anyway, so they came to fix it, and they drove up, and they had a Labrador dog in the truck, and the dog was up here, and my dog was shaking and crying, so I put her in the house, not thinking, you know, I mean, I knew she didn't like him, and not thinking too much about it. So anyway, the next day when I walked her, when we turned around, and Miss Jackson couldn't see this, but she did seem calm walking the corner, but then I had her sit down because she was looking back, and I always will sit her down if she sort of looks back, just to sit her down and desensitize her, they say.
Where were you exactly when you did that?
Okay, and I know exactly where I was on my driveway, probably, if it's a quarter of a mile, maybe a quarter of the way up, if that. We had
So you-
rounded the corner.
You were a couple hundred feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about that. And she was, I'd say maybe, I know we have a quarter of a mile of the property along Bachelor Street, so I would say that she was a third of the way there. I mean, she was around the corner here, and we were up there.
Were you within, were you within, you don't mind if I ask during the what? Were you within the electric fence area?
No,
Okay.
no. She's never gone out of the electric fence area, ever, ever, ever.
Okay.
So, and we had an electric fence in Minnesota too, and she never, ever went out of that either.
Okay, so get back to your...
So, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just get back to your testimony in the sense. I'm trying to grasp how relative the German Shepherds and your neighbors and all that. I'm trying to bring
Because-
this all, if you could bring it all
Yep.
together for us?
Yep, and I went to Tufts to talk about this also. And I think that she's very protective of her property. That is her property. It goes for a long ways around. We walk it all the time. She's used to that. We go down and get the mail all the time. The mail is right down where the dog went by. So that is the property that we have. So when I went to Tufts and I wanted to discuss this with them, I said, and what we had and what she thought, and I have the letter in there, is that because she was so highly aroused and this is a protection of her property, she went and bit the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the conclusion that the Dr. Bjornsvales at the Tufts University had.
Okay.
Okay, so since that time, yes, she is on, and the other thing that was happening, I guess just to sort of say with the anxiety, she started defecating and urinating in the house because she was afraid, and the dogs kept coming over, so we were having those issues. The reason why they put them on the anti-anxiety medication, and it's very similar, it's the exact medications that they use, that we use on humans. Sort of the name that most people know would probably be Zoloft, if you're familiar with that. Not that that matters, but that's what she's on, but it's supposed to help with aggression. And the other thing it's supposed to help with if they get nervous and with the urination and defecating problem. And that she is not having any problems with that anymore.
Okay.
Okay, let me make sure I've gone over all my... Since that time, and the one thing that Ms. Jackson talked about was using a gentle leader. There were two things that was recommended for me to use when I walk her. One was the gentle leader, but the other is the free, I don't know what they're, the ones that, like the harness, the free harness that they have on their back. So when I have been walking her now, I'm not particularly, I don't feel secure with a gentle leader. I don't think it's enough for me to feel safe. So I walk with 2 leashes. I walk with one on the harness, and I have a collar on her that is not a snap collar, but it's the kind with the hole, the buckle. And so I have 2 leashes, and I have 1 leash wrapped around my hand so that she's not going to get away, just for extra protection.
Okay, so your dog was leashed the day of the incident.
She was.
How did she get away from you?
This is the other thing where I take responsibility, and I shouldn't have been doing it, walking the 2 dogs together. And when we walked and turned the corner, they, you know, how they cross over, and so I was going like this and trying to get them back, and I dropped the leash.
Okay.
So the location that you said that you were at and that Mrs. Jackson said that she was at, she said she was about a minute down from your driveway, so it's...
I'm not going to dispute that much. I wouldn't say it was a minute. I
Oh.
ran pretty fast and dropped it, but...
Yeah, whatever.
You know.
Yeah, I wasn't trying.
Yeah.
So you're about I don't know, not quite a quarter of a mile apart?
We wouldn't be a quarter of a mile.
Okay, how many feet approximately?
500?
Okay.
What are you trying to get at?
I just wondered how far apart they were when the dog turned around and went.
No, I'm not saying in a bad way, I'm just trying to, maybe I
Yeah.
can help.
No.
I'd probably have to show you the spots. I mean, I'm, you know.
Well, if you're
I'm
100 feet, if
guessing, so-
you're claiming that you're 100 feet into your property, you said around approximately, and you're a couple of hundred feet, and Miss Jackson was a couple of hundred feet down the road.
It's 500 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Archie.
Subsequently, when you've walked the dog, have you, what's the behavior of the dog been? Any events happened since that time, when you've taken the dog out? Or have you taken the dog out?
I have taken the dog out, and no, none of the events happened. And the other thing too, I probably, as you're asking, I have been on both sides. I've been bit by a dog, so I know exactly the kind of bite because it happened to me. The dog broke through my top and my shorts. I was black and blue all over. I had puncture wounds, so I do know what kind of bite. My oldest dog was attacked 3 times, and by the same dog. My dog was best friends with another dog, Rocket, and the other dog lived next door to Rocket and kept jumping the fence and coming to our house. But the 3rd time, and I'm just talking about the viciousness, so I have a good awareness of how vicious something can be. But that dog jumped. We were at a barbecue at the neighbors, and our dog and Rocket's were together. The kids were there. The family was there. The dog jumped their fence, went after our dog. Okay, it took the owner of that dog, myself, the owner of the house, and a baseball bat to get the dog off.
Okay.
So I'm very aware of the viciousness or seriousness. I know she thinks it's vicious. I paid the vet bill. I have horses who have been kicked, who have punctured wounds, the very same.
Well, you had to see the pictures. This was vicious.
I don't.
You
I have
can't-
a very
I want to make
good-
sure that that is not downplayed at all.
Okay,
And I want an understanding. Now, I'm glad that you asked the question because something came up. I want to have an understanding of your testimony. Basically, you have testified that you have a wonderful dog that you've had for 9 years. You've loved it. It's been a good companion. But it has problems. It has problems when it's around other dogs to a point that you have to have it, bring it to a vet, and now it's on medication because of it. Okay.
And one thing that I did want to find out, and I'm not saying, and I think that I have been highly responsible in trying to respond to this. I'm not trying to downplay anything. I would like everybody to know too, I'm trying to do a little bit of research about this fear and aggression and how often it occurs, and so that we're all aware of it. You know, I think one thing about, and I don't even have, I'm going to just let everybody know we are going to be moving. We're moving back to Minnesota. So this issue, but I do think it's an issue that we all need to talk about. And the only thing I can say about the whole aggression piece, where they're trying to find out, where the behavioralists and everybody else and the vets are trying to find out, is probably more common than you know everybody thinks. Is
Could
it?
be.
Does oh.
It could be, yeah. I would agree, because you don't know, because they're dogs. It probably happens a lot more than we realize. I would agree with that. Do you have anything else?
No.
What,
You have,
so your position right now is that I'm not going to say it how you said it, but the double leash, the harness and the other leash, that's sufficient. So that's your position.
yeah, your position is that you are not going to keep your dog on your only on your property.
Or walk it with a muzzle.
And when it's on its property, the only restraint that you have is an electric fence. And when you walk the dog, you have 2 leashes. And thanks for bringing this up. What kind of leashes? Are they retractable leashes, or are they, you know,
No,
the nylon,
they're the
like
nylon.
3 foot, 5 foot? You know what I
They're
mean
the
by that?
nylon. And let me just say this. I want everybody to feel safe. I'm not here to say, I'm going to do this and this and that. I want them to feel safe, and I want me to feel safe, okay? I've been walking my dog, and actually I'm trying to train her where we go just stay on our property and on Rick Thurlow's property, okay? And so that, we've been walking around a path just to keep her. Initially, I was walking her out, and I thought, let's just see how we're doing here. So far, she's been good. And the only thing, my request, I would appreciate it to not get Lyme disease in the summer when the grass grows in the trees. I have to figure that out. So I'm not in any way saying I'm going to fight this thing to the end. We're going to be leaving in October, and so the issue will not exist anymore. But you know, if occasionally I felt like she needed to get out, but I want everybody to feel comfortable. I mean, I'm not here to start this big battle. And I offered to have her call me if she wanted to talk, and Ms. Jackson didn't, so I would have talked it out and worked it through.
Well, you have to understand, too, that this isn't just this isn't you again. I don't want this to seem like you against Carolyn Jackson. I mean, it seems like something happened. You know, to this level, this happens, you know, whatever. This weren't two just little skirmishes, you know, and you pull your dogs apart at, you know, at Mill Pond or whatever. We have, forget about you want to have them safe. We have to make sure that all dogs and all citizens and children are safe without getting too dramatic in West Newbury, where the dog that you admit gets a little anxious and has problems with other dogs. I mean, that's very concerning to me. It doesn't make it a bad dog, doesn't make it a, you know, not a loving dog for your family, but, you know, we all have to live together, you know what I mean? And, you know, if your dog didn't viciously attack another dog, we wouldn't be here tonight. So we're just trying to take care of something that your dog did. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Ask if there's anybody else who wishes to be heard on this matter. Okay. And state your name, please, and your address, and how. I mean, is it pertinent to the case, or will you have?
I believe so.
Okay.
Hope so.
Yeah, you're not here
That's right.
just to hang out. Right?
Nope. Nothing else to do tonight. My name is Jennifer Kessner. I'm the owner of Canine Consulting, and I live.
Can you need to talk a little bit louder, and you need to slow
Yep.
down a little bit for Chris.
Okay.
Wow, Chris.
My name is Jennifer Kessner. I'm the owner of Canine Consulting, and I live in Rowley on Weathersfield Street. And I'm here, I guess, to talk about dogs in general and some of the things to clear up. You mentioned that you weren't sure about a gentle leader. Gentle leader is best described as a horse halter to fit a dog. It goes across the dog's nose, and it makes it easier to walk the dog, gives you more control when you walk the dog. It is, however, not a muzzle, and if you drop the leash, it's the same as having a collar on. It doesn't work by itself. It only works if you have the leash in your hand. And the other thing about having two leashes is a great idea, but I would say if someone was going to have two leashes, one of them has to be physically attached to you, like a belt with a carabiner or something like that, so that if you fall down and you drop the leash, the dog is going nowhere because they're actually attached to you. So that two-leash idea has got possibilities, but as far as tripping and falling down, which anybody could do, you could drop the leash. I would question that dogs always have a choice. They can run up and growl and snap and do all kinds of things, or they can bite a little bit, or they can bite a lot. This dog made on a scale of 1 to 10 on the upper numbers of a choice. I don't understand why, if there's
Could
never...
you just explain that again?
Dogs, basically...
I didn't quite know what you mean by the dogs don't have a choice.
Dogs have a choice if
Oh,
they have a choice.
They
Yes.
have a choice to go up and just bark at another dog.
Oh,
They can-
I thought you said
They can run
did
away,
not have
they
a
can run
choice.
away, they
Okay.
can run up, whatever it happens to be.
Chose
Right.
the one that tends
Okay.
to be very
Right.
aggressive.
I would question if there's never been an incident before, why would someone yell, "Get your dog"? If someone has a dog that doesn't have issues and the leash is dropped and the dog is running, I don't know why someone would say, "Get your dog" in a concerned way. I understand that the dog may be protecting the property. That certainly is a possibility, and yet that's not a decision that a dog should be allowed to make on their own. A dog can be taught to protect property, but it's not a decision that a dog safely can be making on its own. As far as breaking up a fight goes, I believe that was your question. Was anyone injured? Anytime there's a dog fight and you put your hands in there, not on purpose necessarily, but a dog can feel something on their collar and turn around and hurt somebody. It didn't happen, but it certainly could if there's a fight. And I think the other issue from the other dog's point of view is that if this in fact is the first incident, then if it were my dog, I would be very anxious to make sure that the dog was being walked safely and was never ever going to have a chance to do this again. Because obviously the dog being on record having done it once, if there's a second incident, as you know, there are many more severe penalties that can happen with a second incident, not the least of which you can have your homeowner's insurance and all kinds of things happen. So I think for the good of everybody, for both parties, it would be good to have this dog absolutely bomb-proof as far as if the leash is dropped at another time, this dog is not going to be able to hurt anybody. In my book, that would be something to the extent of wearing a muzzle, but that's obviously not my decision, that's yours. But from a dog point of view, you have to do the lowest common denominator. If the dog gets out of the house, the leash is dropped, whatever it is, how is this dog not going to repeat that behavior?
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm glad that there was a couple of points that I had
Okay.
passed me by, and
Okay.
so I appreciate you coming up. Okay, is there anybody else at this point?
Or does anybody want to make any rebuttal points,
Rebuttals
so
or
to
anything
speak?
like that? But it has to be on point. I think we have a good understanding. I mean, I think everything was said tonight. I mean, I don't know if we want to, there might be some discrepancy over the feet, where you were maybe, but I don't think
More
that.
or less,
I
yeah.
honestly don't.
It doesn't matter.
I honestly, it's really not relevant. If
Right.
you were a mile away or if you were 2 feet away, to me, it's the same thing. Okay? Okay, now this is, there's 2 more processes. We're going to discuss it with ourselves, and then we can make a decision, or we can put some short-term things on it and maybe get a better understanding and take it under advisement and then make a decision at a later date. So, gentlemen, do you have any discussions? You want to start? You want me to start? How would you like that to happen?
Well, I mean, I think the outline from Mike of is it a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog? I mean, I think it fits the description of a dangerous dog according to this.
Correct?
So, I mean, point 1, and then outlines several, if a dog is determined
I got
dangerous,
it, yep.
dangerous dog, there's, a number of different remedies, so to speak. So,
I thought that the point that she just brought up about, it seemed like maybe this has happened in some fashion before, that we didn't get that feeling initially, but just get your dog, it seems like perhaps,
Yeah, I missed that
perhaps.
on the first time. And I'm glad
What-
that came.
Yeah,
And if it didn't happen to this extent,
to some degree, perhaps,
to some
yeah.
degree, or it's known that this could happen, which is basically the same thing in my book. You know what I mean? That there was some nervousness and some anxiousness
Yep.
from the owner of the dog that their dog could do some harm because it got
Right. Right.
away from her.
It wasn't like it was gonna go up and lap the other dog,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay, do you have any questions in your head that you don't have answered that would help if you can direct some more questions to somebody? But I think, Joe, that your point being that we do need to make a decision if this is a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog. And I would agree that this is a dangerous dog rather than a nuisance dog. A nuisance dog being barking,
Right.
getting away, and maybe just bothering livestock but not doing any harm or something like that, barking at all hours of the night when it gets let out. I think we understand. I think we can any reasonable person can come to a conclusion that this is not a nuisance dog, this is a dangerous dog.
Right.
Glenn,
Just one time.
why don't you read those 2 definitions there?
If a dog is deemed a nuisance dog, then the hearing authority may order that the dog or keeper of the dog take remedial action to cause the nuisance, to stop the cause of the nuisance behavior. If a dog is deemed a dangerous dog, the hearing authority may order one or more of the following remedies. Order the dog humanely restrained. Restraint must be in accordance with the state law. Order the dog to be confined to the premises of the keeper, again subject to the confinement requirements. Order that whenever removed from premises, Dog be muzzled and restrained. Order insurance in the amount of not less than $100,000. Approve that reasonable efforts were made to obtain such insurance. Order that the keeper provide the municipality with methods of identification. Order the dog neutered or spaded, or order that the dog be euthanized. This is a question to me. If we deem this a
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
dangerous dog, thank you. When they moved, we by law now have to notify the town and/or city where these people move that they have a potential dangerous dog that has been moved to that city? Now that we've been informed that
No,
these
there's
people are going to be
nothing in
moving?
the, there's nothing in the
Statute that says that?
statute that says that. But
I just wanted to get that off before I forgot it. Okay, okay,
I mean, my opinion is, I'm looking at one of the first, second, or third, any or some combination thereof.
okay. Could you, as selectmen, okay, could you feel comfortable that we would let this Miss Cullen walk her dog if she had 2 leashes, one that's secured around her body with a carabiner thing that was mentioned by this young lady, and with a muzzle?
With a muzzle, yes.
Would you feel comfortable that we would allow her to still walk her dog off of her property
If it can't bite somebody, then yeah, with a muzzle.
with a muzzle? And if any time, and it's 1 strike, you're out, not 3.
Right.
Anytime that we've been notified or there's been a report that those conditions are not being met, then
Have
I would
re-
automatically,
Reevaluate.
no, not reevaluate, automatically that dog cannot go off the premises.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
know.
we don't have to go through the process again and so forth and so on.
That's fine.
Feel comfortable?
I'd just like to, so that everyone knows, I think that it goes right into the definition of what a dangerous dog is as defined by the legislature. And it 2 of them, it fits right in there. Without justification, attacks a person or domestic animal causing physical injury or death. So we got that, and part 2 was behaves in a manner that a reasonable person would believe poses an unjustified imminent threat of physical injury or death to a person or domestic or owned animal. Again, both of those definitions we've heard tonight, that it seems like it fits that. And it's not defined by us, but defined by the Commonwealth.
And they take that seriously because this statute was revisited from the last time we had a dog hearing. And so the new statute precludes the finding of a dangerous dog just solely based on growling or barking or slowly growling and barking. So, I mean, they take that. I mean, this dog went over, you know. I mean, I don't think any of us here. So, I mean, I don't know if this is on, I don't know if this should happen, whatever. How do you feel about that? Because you're the person you're the person who had to deal with that. So I would feel comfortable. I mean, I think if all those measures are in place, this dog won't be a danger to anybody else in West Newbury and/or to an animal. And she still is allowed to walk her dog.
Yeah, as long as it's muzzled, then it can't.
No. Muzzled with 2 leads. and
One attached.
One attached. And I think that is a compromise. I mean, it's been admitted, okay.
It's not,
I want you to feel comfortable.
it's not 100% what either one of you came in asking for.
Yeah, so I think sometimes good compromises work. But, and with the caveat that if those conditions aren't met and it's off the property without those conditions, then the dog automatically has to be restrained to the premises. Michael?
just so you know, is that what your decision tonight would be considered an order, and in accordance with the statute, someone who violates the order can be fined $500 and imprisoned for 15 days. That's the statute.
Who makes those?
What?
Who makes the determinations of the imprisonment? That you go to
That would
court?
be, that would be court.
You
You'd
go-
have to be
A civil,
charged. You'd have to
an
be
action?
charged,
Yeah, okay.
you know.
Okay.
You're easy.
I just don't want to send anybody to prison.
No, it wouldn't be automatic, no.
I mean, if I have to, I have to, but I really don't want to. Okay, so do we have to vote on that?
You have
Yeah.
to have an order, yes.
Yeah, so do we have to, should we write it all up first, or,
I would recommend that.
and then have to vote on that written order at a selectmen's meeting, or can we,
You can vote now, your decision, and then just write it up as an order.
and then sign it, and then send it to, the interesting parties?
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it now.
And we can make it effective immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm gonna put a motion that we have an order given to, Nancy Cullen of 186 Bachelor Street. Who owns the dog? So should it be her and her husband, or should it, because it would be the owner of the dog, yeah. I'm sorry, James? Thank you. So in order for James and Nancy Cullen of 186 Bachelor Street in West Newbury, this order states that anytime the dog is off their premises, which is their land, that the dog needs to have a muzzle, the dog needs to have two leashes that are not retractable leashes, that are no longer than 5 feet, and that one being secured around the said person's body while walking them. And in that order, if this order is violated in any way, that automatically the dog, the said English Golden Retriever, needs to be kept on the premises of 186 Bachelor Street and cannot leave there.
That it?
That makes no sense at the end, because what if she has to take it to the vet? So it has to be able to leave. It can no longer be walked. What's the proper thing? Because of course it has to be able to leave in her car and so forth and so on if she wants to go somewhere. So it can if said order is violated, the dog must be restrained to only their property and not allowed to be walked in West Newbury. I think we all understand that.
Yeah.
Second.
Discussion? You feel comfortable with that?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Question? I'm just thinking that the incident that happened,
You have to speak into a microphone.
sorry. Oops. The incident that happened, the dog was on the property. And if this only pertains to when the dog
No,
is,
the dog wasn't on the property.
Yeah,
the
it
dog was
Yeah,
on
it
the
was.
property. It was on her property.
Within the electric fence.
Right.
Right.
The dog was on her property, ran off of her property onto the street. So if this dog only needs to have those provisions when it's off the property, then the same thing could happen again if the dog is on its own property, not muzzled, not secured,
Okay.
Mike,
then it could
I
run
got you.
off the
I got-
property
I
and do
got-
that again?
When it's not, I got you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So we need to modify that by saying that anytime that it's not in a restrained area on her property.
well, wait a minute. Do we have legally, if it's on her property, do we have any authority?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could say the dog can't go outside. It only can go outside, and we could actually have her erect, if she wants to keep the dog, we could actually legally have her erect a fence if we don't feel that,
Okay.
that
I'm just
that
asking.
electric fence will hold it. But she's saying, we haven't had any instances that electric, well, we can do anything we want.
Yep, go ahead then.
Not anything.
So
I'm
outside,
not Trump.
instead of, well, then just change we should just change the motion to, instead of off the
Anytime.
property, outside of the electric fence.
Outside of her restraint area. Outside of the electric fence? Does that sound right? Okay. You take that up?
Question. We have fencing that we're putting, sorry, that's fenced in, so can.
Physical, like a physical
Yeah,
fence.
with a physical. So I'd like her to be able to wander around there too.
Any,
Where she can't get.
well, any restraint, okay, it needs to be leashed and muzzled if it's not on a restrained area on her property.
Which could be
Her house, electric fence,
Electric
in her
fence
own
or-
house, it
or
doesn't have to be
fence,
muzzled.
right.
But if your dog, I mean, this has happened before, that your dog was in the house, all of a sudden, the door opened, and these people said, oh, my grandkids came over, and they left the door open, and the dog ran out, and it did harm. There is no excuses. Okay, I feel better?
Yep.
Okay, take that amendment?
Yep.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
And this is just according to this document that you included in the packet, there is an appeal process.
Yep,
yep,
and that'll be outlined in the order, I'm presuming?
yeah, the appeals process will be outlined in the order. Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is anybody here for any specific things? Sir?
I don't know if this is what you mean by specifics, but the new intergenerational.
Got it. Got it. I just wanted to, you're here, so that took a little bit longer than I thought, so I want to kind of, there's certain things that we do that people aren't here for, so we can put those off and, get people home. Sir, you had your hand up? Are you from? You're from Verizon?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna, to sign escrow.
Why don't we do the community center thing quick? That'll be faster.
No, that's gonna take a while.
You think so?
Yep.
Oh.
We're gonna do that after this. Okay, appointments. I put this on, we had, some still open committee members. This is not the appointments of that, we're gonna get on to that right next. So, we had, one position open on the FinCom. And there was somebody that might be interested in just serving out this year, so we can get somebody on during the budget process. Is that person here tonight? Mr. McGrath, would you come up, please? We have one position open to the FinCom, and I'm not even sure the length of it, but
Till June 15th.
so that is the length of that
Yeah. Yeah.
position?
Thank you,
Okay.
Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we heard that you might have interest in serving just until June 15th through this budgetary thing.
That's true. Yes, I would. Excuse me, yes, I'd be
Okay.
glad to serve on the
So
FinCom.
I would make a motion that we appoint John McGrath to the FinCom, which the term ending June 15th, 2016.
Second.
Okay? Any discussion?
My only question, John, would there be any possibility that you would love it so much that you might change your mind and hang around a little longer? That's all.
We have a date, Archie. I will tell you on June 15th of this
Okay.
year.
He's
Now,
one of these people that, he doesn't make a decision until he has to make the decision.
Okay.
are you on another committee?
Yes, he is.
I am, and in anticipation of my making the decision that I did to volunteer for this, I checked with town council, and I will have to yield the fence viewer position. So you'll be sorely wanting.
Does that leave us with no fence viewer? Oh,
I think it's more important to have somebody, another
I
person.
was
with
just
FinCom.
kidding.
So I do have one case pending, which Scott Purdy from the Animal Control and I will be viewing on Wednesday. So I won't sign on officially, or I won't swear in for the
FinCom until after that?
Until after we've completed that, and I'll make a report Wednesday, and then I'll be free to go on to my next.
Good, okay, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 300. Okay, committee
We had a vote.
members for intergenerational appointments.
Thank you, John.
Come on up, and you'll be next, sir. Okay. Well,
Who's here for this?
um,
Joel.
your name, sir, is Joel, maybe? Joel Grossman. Yep, Joel, and the Jill Icorse is right behind Joel. And your,
I'm just interested in hearing about the polls.
oh, okay. Well, gentlemen, it's a little bit more popular than we thought. Maybe if we don't approve one of these people, they can be the fence viewer.
Somehow I don't see Jill Icorse viewing fences.
No, no. So we can, there was talk by one of you two, was it? Or was it talk by somebody that night that we didn't want this committee to be too big? Wasn't there? Was that you, Joe?
I probably said that just, I mean, I kind of feel that way about any committee, because you get to be 9 or 10, there's too many people, or people just sit there and don't say anything.
So, at this point,
And my other concern
But
was,
having,
my other concern was that there be, if this is truly an intergenerational facility, that there be balance, and it's not stacked with one side of that.
okay. So let's look at that. We have Marge Peterson and we have Tom Flaherty. Let's not talk about their age. Let's talk about what they're going to give to the committee. One from the rec side, and then one from the Council on Aging side with good experience.
Right.
Was, you know, worked in town government here and stuff like that, so she has a good understanding. And then Susan Babb, that was mentioned because of the library might want to be part of it. Mary Harada is on the Council on Aging. Bill Beard and Brandon McQuirk. We wanted younger people on there.
Yep, that's excellent.
Where did Dick Cushing come from, the member at large?
He just volunteered.
Told me, put it on the list.
To put it on the list, or to be considered, like the other people?
Well, we're considering any of them. It's not,
Okay.
nobody's on a list.
Well, I just didn't know how that, which is fine, but I just didn't know how he got there. That's the first
I-
time I've seen it. And then the other people are down here.
I think he volunteered
Okay?
himself. So I don't think it was Marge
Okay,
volunteering.
and then we have Teresa Woodbury, the Senior Center Director.
She's not a resident, is she?
Say that again?
She's not a resident, is she?
She's not a resident.
Okay.
Teresa?
Teresa.
she could be an ex officio person, but
So are you looking for diversity of age or diversity of life?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, kids versus Council on Aging diversity.
Okay, gotcha. Joel, would you mind coming up, sir? Maybe just tell us what sparked your interest and just so we have a better understanding, what you could bring to it?
Well, generally, I haven't done anything in town for a while, and I'd like to serve the town, so that's one
Good.
interest.
Thank you.
that's
I
great.
was head of the Arts Council years back for a couple of years. The main area is that I've been a hospice chaplain for 11 years, and so I deal a lot with seniors and like to see good things happen for seniors as they approach use of hospice rather than when they get there. So that's basically it. So I definitely fall on the aging side. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like kids, and I like to see them serve too, but my experience goes the other side.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Jill, do you have any, do you have anything you want to say or anything? How many people do you want on this committee? Basic, please do.
Jill Eichhorst, I live on Maple Street, been a resident in town about 50 years. So I've seen the town change over the years. I'm now getting more to the senior citizen age. But I was excited to hear that this was going to be an intergenerational kind of committee. So you were looking for diversity. And I had spent about 9 years on the school committee. I'm familiar with, our young people in town. And so I think that that would be something I could bring to this committee. I didn't realize that this was going to be, I thought it was an open committee, I guess. I didn't know it was an appointment kind of thing, so I apologize, I didn't realize that. I think both of us would be very good candidates for this particular thing, these appointments. I understand you don't want it to get too large, but you do want the diversity on this committee, and the people that you've named so far on this committee each have a unique aspect that they bring to it. My background is in finance, working with the schools, working with the young people in town.
Growing up in town.
Growing up in town.
You graduated from Pawtucket.
I would like to see you make this bigger, but if not, I would still like to be part of it in some manner. And I think because the committees are open to the public anyways, I could, both of us could probably find a niche somehow in this particular thing. I think it's going to be the exciting committee in town, to tell you the truth.
Honestly, we wish you got this response from a lot of the committees we have to appoint, honestly. So I don't want to squelch any of this enthusiasm myself.
I agree.
I believe that anybody who wants to serve, there's going to be so much to do, maybe even subcommittees of it, so all the work's done on 2 or 3 people, so it's a good working committee, so people don't feel they get burnt out. This is going to be a process, and it's just not going to happen overnight.
Who is this? I don't know who this is.
Vanessa Goldstein?
Yeah. Who's that?
She does this kind of...
Talked to me on the phone and said that she already does that kind of work and she would love to be part of it. And maybe at some point she could work at that position.
Is she a resident?
She does that.
Does she live in West Newbury? I presume.
She lives in town and she only has left to go to college. And she still lives
So
here.
she lives in town. I don't care. Put them all, everybody on.
Okay, so who have we appointed so far? Marge and Tom Flaherty.
And
That's
you.
it, yeah.
And you.
Yeah, why am I not on this list?
You-
I could be taken
Yeah,
off. I could be taken off this list if you want to bring more people on here.
No, we need I think you should be on it. We already appointed you.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay, so that's perfect. So why don't we take Teresa off? Okay, in some capacity, and just make her an ex officio member.
Yep.
And then with me, you have 11 people.
Right. So I move to appoint Susan Babb, Mary Harada, Bill Baird, Brendan McCourt, Dick Cushing, Jill Eichhorst, Vanessa Goldstein, Joel, and Joel Grossman.
Grossman.
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And Teresa ex officio.
And, yeah, Teresa is ex officio, which is a non-voting member. So, if I'm not mistaken, they posted a meeting already for Wednesday at 4:30.
Thursday. I was told Thursday. Wednesday. I spoke to Marge today.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
Thursday, 4:30.
Listed up here. It was Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. 25 sounds good. Could we do the 26th, Dick? No. Because of 48-hour posting requirements, our first meeting will be on Wednesday.
Originally, we tried to do it on Tuesday.
Wednesday, the 27th at 4:30 in the first floor hearing room. This will be an organizational meeting, election of a secretary, discussion of our task, and setting a dollar amount to be requested at April town meeting. That time might be kind of hard for people to get to, too.
Yeah, why is it so early?
26th at 4:30?
27th.
Is that what?
26, Wednesday, which is the
27th.
27th.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So can you make sure you tell everybody that kind of short notice? Who knows how many people will be able to be there for the first meeting, but
At
we could maybe
4:30.
talk about that time too, if that's too much of a, people work.
She said something about for the students, it may work well for them.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see you Wednesday at 4:30.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming in.
Yeah, that was nice, thank you.
Could I just
No,
say that,
this is not an open meeting. We're gonna start running them like Trump.
and a taxpayer in town, and a representative of the Arts Foundation, I'm very pleased with her. She's
Oh,
a
good.
great champion of the arts. Thank you.
Good, thank you. I would like to, we need to open the public hearing for
Paul?
for installing the poles on Main Street and Stewart Street. A public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen in the first floor hearing room of the 1910 building, 381 Main Street, West Newbury, Massachusetts, 01985, at no earlier than 7:45 p.m. on Monday, the 25th day of January, 2016, on behalf of Verizon New England and the Massachusetts Electric Company to place 4 new mid-span poles, P43.5, P44.5, P45.5, and P47 on the south and westerly side of Stewart Street, as shown on a plan available in the Selectmen's office. And the following public hearing on behalf of the Verizon New England Incorporated, the Massachusetts Electric Company, to place 2 new sub-poles, T367S/E27-84 and T349S/E45-84 on the southerly and southeasterly side of Main Street. Public hearing now is open. Sir, can you please state your name and with whom you're with for the record?
Hi, my name is Bill Wallace.
Wallace?
Wallace, yeah. I'm with USC Synergetics representing Verizon. I'm here to talk about the poll petitions for Stewart Street and Main Street. The 4 polls...
Do you have a map for us? Do you have anything to show us?
There was a map. I saw it.
I saw the map.
I saw the map. I don't have it in my packet here.
I can tell you where they are. The polls on Stewart Street are pretty much in the Donovan Lane area, and they're intermediate polls. National Grid is looking to upgrade their facilities in town, and so there's already a lot of cabling on those poles, and if you were to go out there, you'd see that there is some sag in between them, some long spans, and so they want to upgrade and put in some intermediate poles.
Can you give me a definition of an intermediate pole?
Well, right now you have pole 43 and pole 44. The span between them is pretty great. I don't know exactly what it is. And so you have a pretty good swale in the cable. So an intermediate pole, 43 and a half, would go in between them.
Same size? Is it
Same
smaller,
size,
or-
same in line, no, same pole, same size, right in line with the existing pole line. For the most part, that's pretty wooded area on that side of the street. There is, the first pole starts just beyond the house that's, I don't know the number on the house, I'm gonna say 109, 107, right in that area. There is a pole that kind of, a tree that would kind of block that pole from the person that lives there. And then the rest of the poles are pretty much in that wooded area. There's a stone wall along there, and again, it's across the street from Donovan Lane, pretty much in that area.
So you're going to be cutting down any trees? to
No,
install any of
it
these?
doesn't seem to have any tree trimming done. There's stakes out there now, if you happen to be out that way to see where they're going. Doesn't look like to be, any substantial tree trimming. No trees that have to be cut down to put them in, or anything
Do you
like
guys
that.
have any questions on this? on Stewart Street. Okay, then can you please explain Main Street for us?
Okay, Main Street, again, Mass Electric, National Grid is looking to upgrade their facilities. They've asked to upgrade those poles. The first pole in question, I don't know, it's right at where Pleasant Street is. And the first pole would, again, it's across the street from pole 137, which is 2 poles down from Pleasant Street if you're headed towards Groveland. The stub pole is on the other side of the street. There's a slight corner on that pole, and as they upgrade, they'd like to, if you notice along Main Street, there's a lot of poles on the opposite side with guy wires across because of the curvature in the road, and that's what these 2 poles on Main Street are designed. One's right there at Pleasant Street, the other one is farther towards Groveland, just beyond Bayberry Lane, Bayberry Lane. There's a pretty good curve. Barberry, right.
Barberry, there's a
Right,
curve there. It's
There's a pretty
Craven's,
Yeah, there's a pretty good curve there with the
wall.
the
wall
walls
there.
placed, right? This pole would be across the street. There's a guardrail on that side of the street. It would be just on the other side of that guardrail. And again, both of those poles are designed to help support and guide the curvature that the new facilities or the new upgrade that Mass Electric wants to do to help them.
I did notice on the one, say, near where Knapp's Florist is, that...
Pleasant Street.
Right, okay, so there's one on the, I guess you called it a guide pole, so that, much smaller, only 1 wire on it. So, is that one gonna come down and a new one replace it, or is it gonna be a double pole, or what's happening?
No, this is a new pole. I think the one you're talking about, I'll say it's on the easterly end of Knapp's greenhouse. This is a little closer to Pleasant Street.
East would be away from Groveland.
East would be
That's right,
toward-
I'm sorry. So it's
would-
more on the
would be-
western
would be
end
more
of,
west,
Toward
okay.
Munn Street.
right.
Okay,
The-
would that, I don't know, would that mess up their parking situation?
No, this pole
there?
isn't really, it's on their property, it's near their property, but it's, if you're looking at Knapp's directly on, and the pole that's already existing, this would be to the left of their property, away from their driveway, down in what's behind this area now is pretty much a big field.
Oh, okay, I know
So
where you mean, okay.
Where they don't mow, where they have the flowers.
Where the poppies grow.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, down in
yeah.
that area there. It would be on that end of it. And the other one, like I say, is up by the
Legally, Mike, we've covered everything we need to cover.
So
Yeah,
basic,
do you wanna-
my basic question, it's not gonna interfere with anyone's driveways or
Sight
access to
lines,
their driveways or anything like that?
ruin
No.
their housing value.
It's the one pole by Knapp's is where I explained where it was,
Yep.
in front of those poppies. The other one is kind of in trees behind the guard fence, the guardrail. It's not in anyone's way of, either one of them is not in anyone's way of any driveway or line of sight, if you will.
You need to use the
That gentleman
microphone.
wants it.
Yeah, so my question would be the ones on by the Knapp Street. You say it's to the left of the Sure, I'm on Pine Street.
Say that again? Did you say your name for, no, you say your name for Chris? Oh, I thought that's what he said.
Okay, I didn't know. Procedure. Harry Connor on Pine Street.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Merrill Street, my apologies.
Okay, I was gonna say, you live on my street, I don't know.
Little nervous standing up here, so.
Yeah, I know, I was gonna say, did you move? And I thought I waved to you yesterday.
So question, where exactly is that, the one next to Knapp's? Why is it needed in that location there?
If you come 2 poles down.
Come on up, come on up. Yeah, this is informal in the sense that, why don't we,
Kind of give you a little, I do have a map to show you on that particular one. There's a little curvature in the road.
I'm gonna look at the road here.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about this pole right here. This is Knapp's. Pleasant Street, 2 poles down, there's pole 349, it's kind of like...
I know where it is.
You know where it is. There's a slight curve in this,
Okay.
and Mass Electric is requesting, based upon their design guidelines, that there is a slight, what they call a corner put on the pole.
Sure.
And they're looking to be able to guide it.
So why is there one over here? Where is that going?
That pole right there, there's gonna be a guide that will be placed from this pole, because this is where the cabling is.
Right.
And the corner has a tendency to wanna pull the pole over. So by putting this pole on the opposite side of the street, they'll run a guy wire over to that pole that will help hold that pole in place.
So it's just to hold up the existing pole, the one that was hit, I think?
Yeah, they're gonna upgrade that pole. They're gonna make them taller poles.
What is your concern?
My concern is I live down on Merrill Street here.
Yep.
I don't want to see some large pole from my property.
Merrill Street would see that pole?
Yeah, you would.
We're right here. I'm
Probably,
living right
yeah.
here.
You're down
So
here?
I'm behind Knapp's. So Knapp's Gardens comes back here. I look into Knapp's backyard.
I don't know that you'd see it from your house.
How far back does it sit in?
It's only gonna sit, maybe, it's still gonna be on state property, so maybe 3 feet off of,
By
off
the
of
main street.
by
Okay.
the main street, about 3 feet off the...
How tall is the pole anyways?
That would probably be about a 35-footer. Thinner, smaller than the ones that are over here. Very similar to, if you went to look, there's a pole up here on the other side of Knapp's.
Okay.
Very similar to the size of that
So it
pole.
stays along the street.
Right,
not on-
right. Not into the marsh. Or
Not into the marsh. That's
No.
my concern is because I'm back there.
No. In fact, if you, just as you go off, there's a drop-off. It's still on the inside of that, it's still
Okay.
on the street side of that drop-off.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Where's the other pole near Knapp's?
There's an existing stub pole that's at, that guides the cable that, is that not Merrill? The next street down from Pleasant Street, it's across from
Harrison.
Harrison, right? If you came out of Harrison, there's a stub pole almost across the street from that corner pole.
Yeah, that's the one I just showed you, Glenn, on the picture.
Yeah, so that's right. You're putting it, from that pole, you're putting it easterly.
You're putting
From
it
that pole, yes,
So
easterly
you're
from
putting
that.
it towards my house.
east
have
of the, east of that pole, yeah, okay.
Right.
So there's the puppies right there, right?
Right.
Right across from Lisa's house. Parents' house. Yeah. Okay, what if we say no?
Then Mass Electric will have to
Appeal.
appeal, try to pursue some other design, or, I don't,
So you're saying to me that they're gonna do upgrades on these lines?
yes.
Or, so they're gonna run more wire?
Currently, they're calling to upgrade all the poles, starting at Pleasant Street, all the way to the Groveland line. They're
So
going to-
you gonna come before us again? Or is this all?
No, they're going in the same places that there are today, the upgrade.
The other ones?
Right. So as they put together that design, they're trying to correct the curvature that's there now that, in their first option is to place the stub hole.
Okay.
You know, along with this, there's several stub poles along Main Street if you, along that, through that area where it kind of makes kind of wavy in the road.
Okay. I'm looking at it on a map. I'm not texting my girlfriend or anything.
Understand?
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
actually married,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be texting my girlfriend.
that's right.
Okay. You have any, your concerns are met?
Yes, I need to
Well, no, I'm sorry. The gentleman, yeah.
Somebody's still here?
I guess my question is, if this is a pole to hold the existing pole, why don't you just beef up the existing pole that's now on Pleasant Street?
They're going to upgrade those poles.
You're gonna upgrade that pole and then put another retention pole on the other side.
Correct, that's their plan.
35 feet tall, so
I'm guessing at that.
so compared to what's an average pole?
Well, the poles that are out there now are 40-footers. They're gonna be upgrading them to 45s or 50s.
They can do
Mostly,
that?
if you look at the stub poles that are, like I say, if you look at that stub pole that's already there at Knapp's other entrance,
Right.
it would be pretty much the size of that pole.
So you're gonna put a pole in front of somebody's house?
No, there's no house there, it's just open field.
You want to see where it's going to be? I mean, do you have the Google map thing?
I think I understand.
I mean, it's
It's,
going to
it's
go...
to the, it's to the, quite far to the left of Knapp's
Yes, it
actual
is,
building, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's well past their building.
So there's our street. They're gonna put it there. You know those poppies that always grow right there? I don't know if you ever noticed them. So they're gonna put it somewhere in there, right there. And you live right here. They're gonna put it right there. Is there a stake out there now?
Yes,
on
there
this
is.
one?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And you're gonna do this in the springtime?
Their next construction season, yeah, I would say sometime in spring, early summer. I don't know exactly. They have to get a state permit to actually do the work on the state road and all that.
How did you find out about this?
I got the notice in the mail.
As in a butter.
The flyer that was sent in the mail.
I just wanna make sure that everybody was notified. If he said, oh, I saw it in the paper, because you put it in the, you know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure that the whole neighborhood
Is aware.
knew.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is,
My question is, they're all stamped municipality. Is there one here that goes back to Verizon or National Grid?
Yeah,
Like this one is there are three of them, but they all say municipality.
So they're putting a bigger pole in on the other side, and there's a little curve to the road, and they don't feel comfortable with the little curve with the wires that they have to put another.
So will you be running wires to that pole or
No,
rerouting anything to Merrill
No,
Street?
No.
the only thing that would go to that pole would be a guide wire that would come across.
Holds it so the curves, because the wires curve, and it makes the pole lean that way, so they're gonna bring the pole back this way.
Right.
One of those should be stamped to come back to Verizon.
You feel comfortable with it?
Yeah, we've got just
It's
three
along
copies of
the
this one.
street, you know, if it's like within the state property.
Yeah, it will. We won't know. I don't think.
No, I don't think you'll see it from there.
The poles keep getting bigger.
Well, that was the question too.
Where do they find the trees?
I wonder that all the time where they find the trees.
Most of them come out of the south. It's southern pine.
They're southern pine?
Yeah,
Oh,
most of them are,
okay.
before they treat it.
That's
What
how
happens
that's
when
how they're
everything
so
goes
nice.
Wireless.
take them down.
Make a motion to approve the polls. Do I have to name all of them? Make a
The
motion.
street.
Make a motion. Give something reference point. Make a motion to approve.
By 187 Main Street.
Yeah. All the poll configurations set forth on the notice of public hearing for the town of West Newbury.
Second.
Second, okay.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
So you
you.
just make sure you work that out with her
Yep.
before you leave?
You- Wasn't there also poles over on,
No.
you said Main Street, I thought Stewart Street.
Stewart in Maine.
Oh, you said Stewart, okay, I just heard you say Main.
Yep. Well, I referred to the piece of paper.
Okay.
But, sign Amoresco's escrow and notice of lease. Michael?
This is just some extra paperwork. The Amoresco people asked us to consent to an assignment of they have a ground lease. Basically what they're doing is a financing thing. They're going to assign the lease to a finance party and then lease it back, operate it back. So from our aspect, nothing will change. It's
We need
just.
to approve it?
Yeah, you need to approve it and sign it, and that's one part of it. The other part of it is just a change to the notice of lease. What they did is they conducted an actual survey of where the fence is. That's our zone, and so they just want to make sure that the lease corresponds exactly, because they had it all surveyed, to the
What it is.
location of the fence,
Right,
and that's the
exactly.
zone. So that's where they're doing it. So those are the two things that they asked us to do, and it's pretty much ministerial.
Right. Okay.
Move to approve?
Second.
Who has the escrow?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we have it here.
Okay.
You left it up here.
Oh, well, the other thing too is an escrow agreement, which basically, every year, they're gonna give us $7,000 plus that we hold in escrow, so that if at some point in time they don't decommission the site, then we have basically an amount of money that we can go against in order to clean up the site.
Oh, okay.
That's one of our sureties.
Okay, make a motion to accept the invoice warrants.
Second.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Do we have any discussion on them?
Nope.
I couldn't find anything to complain about.
There you go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve the payroll warrant.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. Make a motion to accept the correspondence as read.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, what is this letter to the governor?
Letter to be sent. There was no.
Letter to be sent to the governor. What is that?
Mulkey letter?
Yeah, he just said.
Oh, that's Mulqueen's letter.
This letter, but
He
okay.
already sent it.
The Mulqueen.
Did he
Well,
copy
I
us?
know it, but it says it's to the one we have in the packet says to Senator Tar. I just didn't see one to the governor. So, okay. I understand what it's about. I just didn't in the packet. I didn't see anything that was to be sent to the governor. It says it's going to Tar, but he sent to the governor, Tar, and Lenny.
Do you want me to send it on your, do you want it to be signed by the selectmen?
No,
Is he asking that?
I think it was on the cover, just a short thing. He said he sent.
What I would like, no, not yet. I'm actually been in contact with Lenny Mira on this, so maybe it might be helpful to have them come in and, and let some date not to vote against it, kind of pursue them.
You want Bruce?
Yeah, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
This affects transportation.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know when that discussion?
No? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to add to the discussion. What would you like to say, Jeff?
I was wondering about the 200th anniversary. Do you have any update on that? I noticed that there was something about, in the correspondence about that.
No, we don't, actually. Thanks for reminding me, because I actually pulled it out to specifically say, put this in the folder, and that we probably should start thinking about naming a committee, and hopefully it'll be as exciting as, and get many participants as the,
Memorial Day Parade.
well, yeah, we need more of it, David. Hey, yeah, say that, could you, yeah, we're gonna do that, and we're looking for people for the Memorial Day Parade Committee.
Oh, is that what it is?
Huh?
No, he
No.
just threw that out.
I'm telling you, if you're gonna put that in there, we're looking for people.
Two votes.
Yeah, that we're gonna start, the selectmen are gonna start entertaining, appointments for the 200th anniversary.
Anniversary and the Memorial Day parade.
Yep.
How about Lisa?
Well, yeah, and could you email Lisa, do you have Lisa's personal email now? Try to get it. Ask her if she wants to be on the committee again this year. I think she said she did. Just telling me, Lisa and Teresa. But we'll do something. Okay, before we make a motion, I just want to say that our new chief's first full day was today. Today, yesterday?
Today,
Yeah.
Today.
I thought it was going to be on the 24th, but today's the 25th.
today.
I always had the 25th, 4th in my head. So we just want to obviously welcome him, and we're having a thing tomorrow here for all the employees, and anybody who wants to come at 10:30, please stop by. And then the selectmen will be having one in the near future at night, probably before our selectmen's meeting.
Well, depending on his availability, yeah.
His availability, that, residents can come in and meet him.
And we'll advertise that.
And we'll
when we get the
advertise
date.
that.
You're gonna have like a little reception, is that what it is?
Yeah, just a meet and greet here, so
Like,
people can.
Come talk to him, say hi. Shake hands.
In coming to our meeting today, I saw the police lights on, pulling somebody over, so obviously he's doing his job. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wait a minute.
No executive session?
You want to go?
What?
You don't have executive session?
Oh, you want?
We,
Do we
well,
need to go into executive
we
session?
did, yes.
We have a motion to go into
Wait a minute,
executive.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You didn't do future agenda.
Oh,
Uh-huh. Future agenda. Sorry. Well, you haven't,
it's not on there.
it's not on there, we can't do it. Is there anything anybody would like to, I want to ask the question, is there anything anybody would like to have me put on the agenda next time? Feel free to say it now or just email it to Chris.
I'm fine.
I mean, we do that anyway.
I'll email it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, you can talk about it if you like.
No.
Give us a heads up, but just email it to Chris. I mean, I'm open, I don't restrict the agenda. Make a motion to go into executive session, Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, litigation, if open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargain or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We'll be coming out of executive session to adjourn for the evening.